Being able to taste exactly where a wine comes from, especially when you've been given absolutely no information apart from just wine in a glass and the color of it, is a bit of a unique yet maybe niche skill, but for us it really highlights the speciality of wine. Wine is one of those few things that you can actually consume based purely on just triggers from smell, sight, and taste, maybe sound. So we've assembled 6 different wines here, and these all come from the same region. We have no idea which one, and we're going to see whether or not we're as good as we think we are, and being able to tell you exactly where those come from based purely on blind taste. Let's get into it.
Oh, hot diggity damn, we are back again with Guess the Region. So, the last time I did one of these a few weeks ago, we had Guess the State, and I guessed a whole bunch of different states, and I realized that that wasn't the task. Yeah, I think I've really fucked this one up, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. This humbled me hardcore. Contrary to popular belief, I'm going to change my behavior, and this one, I'm going to save guessing the region to the end of the tasting. So, let's dive in.
Wine number 1. They're all reds. Where is a region that's known for red wine in Australia? Clarenvale, Rosso Valley.
This looks a little bit like a Nebbiolo, holding this up to the microphone. Have a listen, guys.
Bright, juicy, clearly a red wine.
It honestly smells like all of the old school wineries that I've ever been into. Like, it smells like oak, smells like heritage.
Straight off the bat, it smells like Barolo. I wouldn't necessarily say tar and roses, which is kind of like a colloquial sort of thing about Nebbiolo. It's like tar and roses, but it is definitely floral.
It's got good structure, like lovely sandy tannin, which I'm really into. Strikes me as Pinot on the nose.
But it's like this very restrained example of a style of wine that I'm usually not super crash hot on, but right now, considering the climate, it's what we've been talking about. It's pretty good.
Honestly, not as crazy amount of tannin. Presence of it though is from one side of the mouth to the other side and floor to ceiling the whole way around. Probably drop around about $55 a bottle for it, and I would totally buy 12.
I'd pay $25 for this bottle of Pinot. I wouldn't pay any more. And I would probably get 6 because I think, again, it's just a real good staple to have around the house.
I'll have 6 bottles of it straight up, and I reckon that'll be $45 a bottle per wine. Not bad.
Wine number 2, darker, denser, faded rim, and it kind of has not a haze.
Hot diggity damn. Did someone put vampire blood in my glass? Terrible joke.
I've been watching some stuff about like how master somms do their tastings recently. I can't even keep up with the pace that they're doing, so I'll give it a shot. This wine is purple in color, faded purple rim around the outside, indicating fruit that has been matured for an amount of time, maybe some stem usage in there as well. This wine has aromas of butterscotch, wet dog, forest fruit. From the nose and the taste, this is a French wine, probably from the southern regions of Provence. Very delicate on the palate. I would say that this is a 2018 vintage. Yeah, I can't even like keep in my head things that they're talking about, and I still caught myself saying maybe there.
Feels like it has some kind of French influence.
It is juicy.
Lovely, luscious palate weight. A little bit of alcohol here. I was expecting this to be quite extracted.
Super sandy tannin. It actually just feels like I just licked a sponge, as that's not fun. I don't like licking sponges, contrary to popular belief.
I reckon that is $30 a bottle. I'll have 1 of them, not my favorite, and I reckon it could be a Nero.
I would throw another $55 a bottle at this, and I would buy 12 bottles. I think it's all class.
I think that this could be some really lovely Cab Franc, maybe? I think it's $30 a bottle. Getting 3 of them. Region-wise, no idea still.
And this is a light, juicy red. What I'd imagine strawberry wine would look like in terms of color.
Funny, weird colored things again, like we're back in that sort of obvious Nebbiolo. Can you hear it?
Okay.
Creamy, buttery, spicy.
Oh no, this has changed again.
Very light example of whatever grape varietal that is.
I feel like that has a little bit of age on it. Feels creamy, feels luscious, feels like you're being bathed in moisturizer.
Quite tacky, silty. There's like Milo and Ovaltine. This is Ovaltine. I want to say it's Nebbiolo. I don't think it's a great example of Nebbiolo, to be honest. It's just lacking the punch and the depth.
Grenache is what I think that is. $45 a bottle. I have 6 of them.
Could be Grenache, could be Nebbiolo. I'm paying $60 a bottle for this, so this is really good wine, and I'm taking 6.
And I would drop like $45 a bottle on it, and I would buy 3 bottles.
In terms of region, no idea.
All right, moving back to something deeper, something darker, something denser.
From light to dark to light to dark.
Smelling a bit more casky, a little bit more oaked.
Lovely. There's a bit of age on this too.
Bit medicinal as well, like kind of reminds me of Cab Merlot kind of vibes.
I think this is a little bit greener, a little bit stemmier, Cabernet.
Feels like matured Barbera.
This is like black currants, cassis. This is either like Cab Merlot maybe. I'd be paying like $50. I'm only taking 3.
$40 a bottle, 3 of them. Not a huge fan of the nose, but palate actually ends up being pretty good.
$58 a bottle on it, and I would buy 6. Like, all of these things are little tiny things that all come together to form a whole, but I don't think it's worth like stinging them for it, if you know what I mean.
Wine number 5. Okay, so similar to wine number 3, there's kind of like this little orange tinge to it.
Orange brown tint to this wine, which is making me think it might have a little bit of age to it.
Yeah, wow. There's a variability to the aromatics here that I would almost say the first 2 wines were Piemonte, the second 2 wines were Tuscan, and this one smells, honestly, like Nerello Mascalese.
Straight away on the nose, like there's this huge amount of complexity.
It's like sour raspberry, orange incense aroma that you get in a Negroni.
Sorry, I just had to write down that I'd spend $120 a bottle of this and I'd buy 12. That is a wine.
It feels like the moisture was just sucked out of my mouth. That's gotta be Nebbiolo. Tony Stark tannins. You know, I love you 3000 tannins.
What could you be? It could be another Ferrari sort of thing. And that'll be $55. And I reckon I'll get 3 bottles of that as well.
A $65 mark here, and I'd be getting 6.
Very full on, very ballsy. I actually really dig the aroma. So far, my wine lineup.
And then wine number 6, down to the final wine. Let's have a look here. So really dark again.
I'm feeling McLaren Vale is my answer for where these wines are coming from at the moment.
It's got a Goldilocks zone in terms of color. Oh, okay.
This one, like, smells a little bit fishy.
Oh,
this might be it. That gets $180 for me and 12 wider lineup. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of these wines are a little bit overly structured, too much structure for the amount of fruit weight. Perfect fruit weight, perfect structure.
Huge tannin. Standing in an unair-conditioned room in Australian summer drinking that wine is not it. 1 bottle, $45.
I think it's Nebbiolo too. I'm going 110. This is awesome. I perceive it as being the most generous in flavor and the most complex, but holy shit, dude. This is wicked.
Potentially. I'm gonna lock in McLaren Vale.
If these wines are Australian, I'm gonna feel like a fucking idiot, but I think that this is Langhe in terms of region.
I'll be honest, I think we're actually in Barbaresco. Let's see what the rest of the guys think.
Rolling.
Right on, guys. We've got 6 shades of slightly orange red wine.
Yeah, most part I was getting pretty deep heavy red on a lot of this. I don't know if it's just that it's summer, like we've got cricket going on here at the moment, so this is not necessarily the times that I'd usually be drinking these, but
they were all right. It's pretty cool sort of tessellation of color as well. Like we've got some sort of like this little fella here is, you know, super light color,
juicy.
dark color.
Yeah.
Obviously the goal of this whole thing was guess the region. The big hint here being, well, it's all red wine, so it must be a red, I'm assuming. Was there any guesses?
Yeah, I definitely had a guess.
which country were we in to start out? Just, I don't want to be wrong all at once, you know what I mean?
My gut feeling, reaction here was straight to Italy.
My guess is in Italy, yes.
Yeah, mine is in Australia.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Specifically the southern part of Australia.
Indeed.
How south?
McLaren Vale.
You reckon these are all from the Vale?
I reckon these are all from the Vale. They were red. Some of these remind me of the wines that I've had from McLaren Vale in the past.
True.
Sure, there were a couple of curveballs in there, but I can't say that I've tasted every wine from McLaren Vale.
So my thinking that came through here is that there's a particular varietal in 3 of these wines, which I think I picked.
Yep.
Because of the color, I've not seen anywhere else in the world where this varietal comes out looking like that, tasting like that, and it's in Italy. It's in a very specific part of Italy.
Which is?
Langhe or Piedmont.
Yeah, that's where I was. Langhe as well.
Cool.
Northern Italy. There are some of these wines, though, that made me double question.
Yeah, 100%. Specifically, wine 1, 2, and 4 made me go like, oh, maybe we could be in South Australia. Maybe we could be in a different part of the world.
How are you feeling on this one?
I didn't mind it. I thought it was a Ferrari type thing. I thought it had like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Sounds like Ferrari. Just noticed that for the first time ever. With this, I was like, yep, cool, it's a big wine, but it also keeps everything in check. It's a little bit more restrained. Not super high in alcohol, so I could sort of see a much better use case for it than something that is a real, like, grab you by the throat and be like,
Initial taste, I was like, oh, this might be like a cool little Pinot Noir, like it's light in body, but then in retrospect, when I tasted through the rest of the wines, thinking Langhe, this might be Dolcetto. Like bright, light, juicy cherries, you know, fun little Italian man smoking tobacco drinking this. Like that's the vibe for me. 25 and I'd take 6.
25?
Yeah.
Wow, dude. I started at 55 for this and I'd take 12 in a heartbeat.
Oh, cool.
or McLaren Syrah.
Yeah, or Dolcetto, or Pinot.
Langhe Nebbiolo.
$44 Langhe Nebbiolo.
Yeah, okay, pretty stonking. I never would have guessed that that was Nebbiolo though. I don't know why.
It's not a bad one. We've seen this on the show before, I think, or especially from a similar producer, Gioso. Gioso? Yeah, cool. Gioso. Fantastic. Fantastic. Number one.
Oh yeah, there he is.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, true.
There. So we're in Langhe. I wondered the whole, like, guess the region. Are we talking specifically Barolo or Valorese? Are we getting into that level of sub-regionality? This was quite the departure. I thought this is where we started to spy a little Barbera, perhaps.
100%. Upon initial tasting, I was thinking Cab Franc or like one of those like Cabernet adjacent varietals because they like the kind of texture.
What grape varietal smells like butter menthols? Because to me, that smells like butter menthol.
It's probably more like a secondary winemaking character as opposed to something that's primary.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But it's the acidity, this sort of like it's a lot of acidity.
Dude,
there's a lot of acid there.
It hurts.
It's a hallmark of the Barbera grape variety. I mean, it's also a hallmark of Nebbiolo as well, but this was just a little bit too primary. I'm not the biggest sort of Barbera fan. I was the biggest fan of this. I mean, although I was willing to spend $55 and buy 12 of them anyway.
I think I know what you mean by like butter menthol. I think in the tasting, I said this smelled like the best permanent marker you've ever had.
Was that $30?
$30 for one. I didn't.
$30
was
for
too
three.
acidic.
I had 55. $42 Dolcetto.
Dolcetto.
High acid Dolcetto. Really good.
That. Okay.
Obviously explains the darker color as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun little wine. Dolcetto's always one that, in terms of bang for buck, good value. Because we're in Piemonte, everything's gonna have a bit more of a Piemonte tax. That's kind of like an annoying thing that's happened with the rise of popularity of this. Of course, seems like we're going back to Nebbiolo territory.
Seems like,
number 3.
Here's my guess on this one. I initially thought it was Grenache. It didn't have the kind of tannin structure that for me was akin to Nebbiolo. And so I went back and tasted it and then was like Grenache / Nebbiolo, even though I know they're different ends of the tannin spectrum. But there's something about the brightness, the lightness of this where I was like, yeah, this is really delicious wine. I freaking love this wine. I thought it was sick.
Especially coming back to it now, this is probably my pick of wine of the lineup. I find this really approachable and quite enjoyable as a style. I think it's got some of that without necessarily tannin red wines just don't go super well with me, especially right now.
It's pretty warm in here. I wasn't the biggest fan of this. I wanted 3 and only wanted to spend 45.
See, I really love those light styles of red, so I'd punch this hardcore and I went 6 for 60.
Yeah, I wanted 6 for 35.
Yeah, copy that.
Alberto Oggero. I believe this guy, Alberto Oggero, is from Roero. So he's part of the Roero Boys, which is literally, it's called Roero Boys. So it's Valfacenda, Alberto Oggero, and a few others. Much more elegant, lighter styles of Nebbiolo.
How much was that a bottle?
Yeah, 48. I was just double checking.
48.
It's not 118.
Yeah,
48
gee whiz. Yeah.
Sure,
For
fair.
48, I think that's an absolute banger. If you like light styles for $48, get around it.
I'll be honest, I actually have been quite inebriated with this particular producer. And this is God's honest truth. I only know about this producer because of that. I had no idea they were represented in Australia.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of cool to see Alberto's wines here. He's a really lovely guy.
What a hot flex that is.
Yeah. Wine number 4. So back to something with a little bit more density and weight. I thought we were back into Barbera territory here as well.
I think these are the sorts of wines that confuse me about, this is where I was in McLaren Vale territory for me. I thought this tasted like a Cabernet. I thought it tasted cream and stemmy. So these were just confusing to me. I was like, what the fuck are these? I always forget that Nebbiolo exists when we do these tastings.
I was the same, man. I thought this was Cab Merlot kind of vibes, that green stemminess, this little bit of medicinality.
A little bit of Brett here. There's
a bit of Brett?
There's a touch of Brett here.
So I'd only take 3 just because this kind of heavy style I wouldn't drink all the time, but $50.
Yeah, I was 3 for $40. Same sort of reasoning. Yeah, don't need a heap of it, but it was alright.
I was 6 for 58. I thought, not bad. Like, there was definitely this sort of like, these two wines were separate from these two wines, were very separate from these two wines.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah,
big
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of...
yeah.
Got it. Oh, Praeter.
Vino.
Oh, really
Okay.
good. So this is, I've forgotten the poor chap's name. He worked out at Shaw & Smith, and he is a Nebbiolo specialist. He makes Nebbiolo in Australia. He makes it in Italy.
Well, yeah, good wine.
wines.
Again, $45. I'd take some.
Matt Large. G'day, Matt.
More Nebbiolo.
Wine number 5.
Both of these are Nebbiolos. Both
Yes,
of these
they
are
are.
a massive change of pace
Yes,
and
they
a
are.
big change of dollar value.
Hot diggity fuck. These wines were exceptional. Both of these are
Yeah.
so good.
This is like top class.
Sure.
Yeah, from a non-ideal vintage as well. I think this is a colder vintage. Like tannin though, the structure on it. Like this is so structured. It's almost too structured.
It's Burj Khalifa structure. Like, exceptional. 5, I was taking 6 for sure. But I wasn't sure like how much of a step up this was. So I was like, 65. I think that's good. Now reflecting on this, I think that's such a low ball offer. But like 6 for 65 for sure, and you could go upwards from there.
Yeah, don't worry about what I wrote. Don't worry about that.
No, let's worry about it.
Yeah, no, like
I look
I...
over here and I'm just like, 3 bottles.
Yeah, $3 to $55. I think, like, me not liking these wines is pretty emblematic of why I don't really understand Nebbiolo. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
This
if
is
this-
Neb's a nerd's variety,
if
isn't
this is
it?
the pinnacle of, like, you guys are like, hot diggity fuck, this is the one I want to be drinking all the time, I'm like, miss me with that. Give me back my turkey flat rosé, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
All right, I went straight for the jugular on it. It was $120 a bottle and wanted
Yep.
12. I thought it was all class. Ooh, very cool.
$55?
Like $55. That's
Knew
a
it.
really, really
Knew it.
dude. Nailed it. Dude.
Knew it.
This is fantastic.
This
so
is really good.
Screamed 55.
What?
This is really good.
From the rafters.
So, look, I've never encountered this producer before. I have encountered Ethereal Wines. They're an amazing importer inside Australia, and they do some awesome niche stuff. Produced exclusively with selected grapes grown in our vineyard inside the Mount Venera National Park, deeply rooted in the rhyolitic lava from Permian age.
Yeah.
Formed during the
Wow.
explosion of the Valsesia supervolcano.
Like you were talking about nerd wine, that's some nerd
That's
wine.
nerd wine.
That's nerd wine.
Yeah.
And for $55, that is stonkingly good.
That's an amazing
That's
wine.
a ripper.
That's a really fun wine. What a great nerd. I was over here. It's like, give it to me.
Yes. That's a really good
super volcano. To my wine of lineup, wine number 6, I thought this was as if we grabbed all the best bits of these and we put it in one wine.
Abso-fucking-lutely. This is Neb at its finest, and I am a slut for fruit weight. You were talking about like this has more fruit weight? Absolutely, and I want it all over me.
What's about you wanted one bottle of this?
He did!
Yeah, dude, sucks.
Oh man!
I don't want my mouth to feel like that.
Oh,
I don't like that.
it's supposed to feel like that.
I know, but just because it's supposed to, like,
Doesn't mean you like it or enjoy it.
No, like,
Oh, this is just so good.
Yeah, all about this.
This is Nebbiolo at its triumphant best in so many ways, shapes, and
Floral,
forms.
lifted.
Just
everything.
like savory, and then the structure. Like I said, Burj Khalifa before. This is ISS. This is out of this world. This is structure.
Jesus Christ.
I took 12 of these for 110. I was like,
What?
this is going to be
Yeah.
expensive, and this is so good.
12 for 180.
yeah, one for 45. It's a little-
Yeah, copy that.
This is actually the outlier. This little Gamay from McLaren Vale, if you know what I'm saying. Oh my god, man.
It's like, mate.
Maretti.
$65. What good? This is the ultimate great value Nebbiolo pack. Not a single bottle here is over $70.
Yeah.
The most expensive bottle being $65. So if you're Nebbiolo curious, this is a great place to start. They don't go cheaper than this.
No.
But they definitely, obviously, we thought they could command it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2019 Nebbiolo for $65. Get out. That was really, really good.
What's going to be one of the lineup? I'm happy to just like opt out of.
I vote for Alberto Oggero's stuff because that is an expression of Nebbiolo that is just so unique and so different to these. Like if you want an understanding what Barolo tastes like, then you can go and grab these.
Yeah, look, I think if we averaged out how much all of us bought and the price point, it probably is. I think you're actually making the right decision there.
That said, those last two, for people who actually like Nebbiolo, you guys thinking
silly.
it's Burj Khalifa and the ISS of Neb.
Roero Nebbiolo, bring it back.
Yeah.
Alberto Oggero.
Why not line up?
Yum yum.
How good?
Catch you guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Sorry.
I know, that was so good, dude.